What's in the mix? The power of music. We talked about last week how music is atmosphere control. It controls an atmosphere. I was in a service one time and I saw a guy playing his keyboard. So we're in the service and we felt the weight in the service. It was a youth service, we felt the weight. And I was like, well, Lord, what's going on in here? He said, look over at the keyboard. Well, not the keyboard, the organ. The guy was almost like a minstrel. He was controlling everybody in the atmosphere, the way he wanted everybody to flow. And he was excited that he had everybody on a string. You know, when you hear about minstrels, and a perfect example is the Pied Piper. The story of the Pied Piper is actually a true story. But what happened with the Pied Piper, they had this town was infested with rodents. So what they did was they called the Pied Piper and they asked him to play music and to have the rodents follow him out of the city. But they bait and switch. They didn't compensate him the way he wanted to. So what he did, he came back in the city and he played music and he led the children out of the city. And of course, after that, it becomes a mystery whether the children were ever found or what he did with the children. But he used music to move them. You know, you see people play flutes and it affects snakes and things of that nature. Music has atmosphere control. It can control us because it's sound. We talked about this when we talked about hearing from God, sound recognition, how our new tools are moved by voice recognition. Why? Because there's 26 syllables and there's 40 different types of voice recognitions that you can have. So everybody has 40 different patterns no matter what. We all fit in those 40 patterns. But we all know there's 26 syllables, the alphabet, right? All right, so based on those syllables and based on those voice patterns, you can say something into your phone to pay a bill, or right now, I've seen Terrence all week texting, but talking his text. Because he was talking, I was like, what you doing? He said, well, I'm talking my text because I don't like to text when I'm driving. So I just talk the text. So how does that phone know? That phone, after a while, that phone picks up his voice pattern and the syllables that he's trying to communicate it, and it turns it into words. It moves on sound. You know, we could get high tech and just start coming here, me and Terrence walk through the door in the morning and just say lights, and the lights come on. Because they'll be moved by sound. They'll pick up, again, they pick up patterns and syllables. There's sound as we're talking going all through this atmosphere. When we were at the other building, we tried to hook up the camera to the soundboard. But the reason why we couldn't, because we want all the sound in the house. Because the camera would pick up when especially the ladies with heels, when they would walk on the floor and everything. So when we tried to hook it up, the reason why we couldn't do it is because it was picking up a radio station. There was no radio station inside that building. It was picking up it was picking up a sound, a frequency, sound. So there's sound around us all the time. In the beginning, God said, let there be light. That sound went out, and it's been producing light ever since. When you woke up this morning, you saw light. That sound affects the atmosphere. We talked about it last week. God made us in his image and after his likeness. We speak or we communicate sound. And then after he said he made us in his image and after his likeness in Genesis 1:26, Genesis 2:7, it said God breathed into Adam the breath of life. So wait a minute, he made us in his image and his likeness, so we have the power to breathe life into whatever we do. So what was in God was breathed in us. What's in us, we breathe in everything we do. And the thing is, what happens is, we talked about this again last week, what happens is when a person is speaking, or when you see them singing later today, or even me into this microphone, I'm breathing into this microphone. So what's being breathed in this microphone is coming out in sound, and you're absorbing. If it's God's words, it will be sharp like a two-edged sword. It will divide you asunder the thoughts and intents of your heart, and it will create revelation. If it's God's words. If it's my opinion, it may touch your ear, it may get to your head, and you may start to reason whether or not you want to believe it or not. But I'm still breathing in it, and you're absorbing what I'm breathing. When they sing on that mic, they're breathing into that microphone. So what's in them goes into the microphone. You absorb things all the time. Some people put on perfume on their arm and they're allergic to it. And they have an allergic reaction. They break out all over their body. But they just put it right here. How come they just not breaking out right here? Because their whole body absorbed. Or the nicotine patch. You put the nicotine patch here, people don't have a crave for smoking. They get the nicotine, they would get the cigarette, they just getting it on the patch. But now they got the little Bengay patches and all types of stuff. Well, you absorb through the patch. See, so when you sit in a room and then there's an atmosphere, you absorbing what's in the atmosphere. Go to a club and they smoking angel dust or weed, and you be like, I don't get high. Yes, you do. You got high that day. Because you absorb what was in it. Like you walk out like, I don't know. The weed I smoked today was nicer than the other weed. No, it wasn't nicer. It was mixed with everything that was in that atmosphere. You absorb what was the music that was being played in that atmosphere. And see, so a lot of times we're not attentive to atmosphere. We don't pay attention to atmosphere, right? All right, let's get to some things here. All right, so this is the key. Music, the reason why music has such a great influence, it's a direct link to your heart. See, it hits your heart. It's a direct link to your heart. Music can bypass your head and go right to your heart. That's your subconscious. That's your autopilot. The way you're designed is you have a conscience. Your conscience that's where the mental ascent takes place. Mental ascent is, I agree with that. So you come into church, you hear the word, oh man, I didn't even think about that. You know what? I'm going to get myself together. You just agreed to it up here, but it ain't kicked into your autopilot. You walk out the door, your autopilot's like, that's nice that you agree with that, but we're going to do what we've been doing for the last 10 years. But your head is like, no, but remember we just heard in church, like, we ain't got nothing to do with heard in church. We running you. See, that's why the scripture says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. It says meditate on the word day and night, because God knows what you meditate on penetrates your heart. He says, but just getting it one day ain't enough. You don't go to school. Some of them are in school now. They don't show up on Monday. They teach them something on Monday. And that's it. You get a test, sometime down the road, like, we taught you this Monday. No, you go over Monday, you go over Tuesday, you go over Wednesday. They go over the Pythagorean theorem, they break it down a little bit. But before they even get to the Pythagorean theorem, they're breaking down times tables, because if you don't know how to time something, you're not going to be able to work the Pythagorean theorem. But then before the Pythagorean theorem, they're breaking down math, because if you don't know how to, you can't do regular addition and subtraction, you can't break it down either. So they keep breaking it down in pieces to eventually, so you go from the Pythagorean theorem, now you're into calculus. Now they're talking about similar to the base 2. So now you got to know exponents too, so you need to know exponents. So within that same equation, you got exponents, you got subtraction, you got multiplication, you got addition, you got times tables. All this stuff in this one trig, all this is in this one equation. Because you keep elevating to a point where you're breaking it down, and hopefully you become an engineer or something. But they didn't do it like one day, like, all right, this is everything you got. They keep going over it and rehearsing it to a point where you get it down. She probably knows her ABCs because they be over and over and over. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. We get it down. The same thing, I pledge fraternity, sigma, sigma, alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta, eta, theta, iota, kappa, lambda, mu, xi, omicron, pi, rho, sigma, tau, epsilon, phi, chi, psi, omega. Then of course I had to say sigma because I pledged sigma. That was spring 1981. But we only did it for 7 weeks. Next week, Thursday, I'll be 50. 7 weeks of, we call it the Sigma bet, and I still know it. Because I rehearsed it. 7 weeks, that's it. 7 weeks of my life, and it still was embedded in me. So you think you can play around and do stuff and expose yourself and absorb stuff, and it's not going to have an effect on you? It has an effect on you. Have you ever went over a friend's house to eat the food that's in your good? Look, Sugar Hill Gang, it's still in there. I was about to do the whole thing. It's still in there. Why? Because we just absorb it. You start walking around. What was he? I don't know what he was singing, but Terrence was walking up and down the hallway the other day just repeating the song over and over. And I stopped to ask him, I was like, what you saying? Because He said something to me the other day. Terrence, you don't mind if I use you, do you?
Okay.
He said something to me the other day. Oh, he was in there listening to music, so I think I had the iPhone, but not the iPod. So I have a lot more music on my iPhone than on the iPod. I just kind of push stuff on there just for our atmosphere. So we in here all day, Terrence was listening to everything. So I noticed I was in there painting. He was playing songs over. So he told me, he said, man, you got a lot more music on that iPhone than you do on the iPod. He said, there's some of that stuff. He said, I didn't know there was Christian music that sounded like that. He says, I don't care about what it says. Ain't that right? But the other day he was walking down the hall saying something. He wasn't saying beat. He was saying the words. He was speaking the words out. So I stopped him and like, dude, do you know what you're saying? See, because the beat is almost like you're a doctor. So they put the little alcohol on you. You know what I'm saying? Before they give you the needle or whatever. I guess, I don't know what that does, but I guess it cools you. I don't know what it does. Once they prep you. Oh, be quiet. right. But actually, when we were young, we weren't thinking about infection. It had a coolness to it. Almost like, oh, okay, this needle might not be as bad as it looks. right? But there's a prep. It's almost like, oh, this is good. This is good because anesthesiologist, what is it? Anesthesiologist, right? So they kind of numb you to prep you for what? Because if they don't numb you, what's going to happen? You got some problems. You're going to be dealing with pain, right? That's what the beat does. The beat kind of numbs you. So the adversary can inject some words in you. Wow. And you going, yeah, I don't care about the words. Yeah, see, this is the key. The key is, what the adversary tries to do is try to teach you something you don't want to learn. Because there's things we want to learn. Who was here? Somebody was AJ. AJ, he was here helping us paint. What the heck? He was here helping us paint. I gotta watch what I say because I don't want to keep having to edit everything. But he was here helping us paint. So Terrence was back there doing the sound, putting together the sound. So AJ was like, I want to go back there because I want to learn it. So there's things we want to learn, right? But there's some things we don't want to learn. But see, when you don't want to learn nothing in the kingdom, guess what? You won't. You don't want to learn nothing in the world, guess what? You will. Because the adversary teaches you stuff you don't want to learn. Every day. You don't even realize it. Matter of fact, you walk into a movie, you think all of a sudden you felt like you wanted a Coke and some popcorn. But you didn't see in that 30-second clip, it said, go get you a Coke and get some popcorn. Not one time did you see the words, go get Coke and get you popcorn. They put a message in it. Went right by you, hit your heart, and all of a sudden your autopilot said, I think I want some popcorn and a Coke. I don't know why. It taught you something you didn't even want to learn. You'll go out and buy. I saw a young man, he just got a job, probably like a Home Depot. We was out at Home Depot. Just got a job. So he probably just barely making just a little bit of money. You know, probably like Leo's age. But this dude had about $250 sneakers on. So I'm like, because something told him, the commercial said, you buy these, you're going to run faster, jump higher, and if not, the fella's still going to love you. But it's not like you carry around 300 people in your school class with you everywhere you go. You only see them in a moment. So you just spent $250 of your hard-earned money for a moment of props. You ain't running fast and jumping on high, I'm going to tell you right now. Unless you get some NBA shoes, you don't even have good support. They don't give you the shoes. Y'all know you don't get the shoes the players wear, right? The players get different leather, custom shoes. They don't get that cheap stuff that if you turn the wrong way, it rips. I'm telling you this. Okay, all right. All right, let's go. So it teaches something you don't want to learn.